You're listening to the Cyberwire Network, powered by N2K.
Are you frustrated with cyber risk scores backed by mysterious data, zero context, and cloudy reasoning? Typical cyber ratings are ineffective, and the true risk story is begging to be told. It's time to cut the BS. Black Kite believes in seeing the full picture with more than a score, one where companies have complete clarity in their third-party cyber risk using reliable, quantitative data. Make better decisions. Reduce your uncertainty. Trust Black Kite.
Hello, my name is Dr. Georgianna Shea. I'm the Chief Technologist at the Transformative Cyber Innovation Lab at the Foundations for Defensive Democracies. My first thought was, and this might sound strange, but I thought I wanted to be a mortician. But then when I got into my more advanced math classes, I then started thinking about engineering. And I thought, okay, I want to be an aeronautical engineer. So that's what I was thinking I wanted to do when I was in high school. It was never a plan to stay in as a lifer. So I did my 4 years in the Signal Corps. While I was in, I tried to do as much school as possible, which, for me, I think it ended up being 2 classes. Because being in the Signal Corps, if you're not out in the field doing your job, then you're not doing your job. So I did not get a lot of school in while I was in the Army, but once I got out, that was my goal: go to school and pursue a degree. I had gotten out of the Army. I ended up going to Hawaii and then went to school there. I wanted to major in math because I really like math, but I didn't honestly know what I would do with math except be a math teacher. And I didn't really want to be a math teacher. So as I was taking all of the math courses, I think all the math courses that the school had to offer, I noticed that all of the math translated to the computer science degree program. So I actually got my 4-year degree within just less than 2 years because I kept a very full load. So I was out of the Army and looking to actually start a career that was going to pay me more than the minimum wage job that I had. I was graduating right at the time that they were standing up protection for critical infrastructure. So this was in 99. And I was in Hawaii. So in Hawaii, they stood up the Army's Regional Computer Emergency Response Team. And they were looking for 10 people, brand new organization, to monitor and protect the Army networks. And my fellow students had graduated. They were looking for jobs. They passed around their resume. And one of my fellow student colleagues had gotten a job there and reached out to me and said, hey, they're looking for like 10 people, this brand new organization. And I think you would be great here. So I said, great, I'll interview. So I interviewed and they hired me, which was, I guess, the step into my career and where I am today. I was there for a couple years, and then I ended up transferring to the DC area, where I went from the regional Army support to the Army headquarters cert. So I was now taking in the reports that I used to submit. And then I get there and I realize, oh, no, they're also a brand new organization, and they're still trying to figure it out. And then I think I was there a couple years, and I honestly felt like it just wasn't taking off. I ended up thinking, well, I need to get back to my technical roots. So I wanted to do something a little more technical. And we were using a tool there. It was Starlight. And so to use Starlight, you've got to go through and do a lot of data manipulation. So you don't have to be as analytical with numbers. It's more of the picture representation of things. So I had applied to a company that was managing this tool, and I found out that company, Battelle. So I applied there, and they brought me in, and they hired me in the Crystal City location. I ended up working for Battelle, and then a project manager came up to me one day and said, "Hey, do you know anything about I/O?" And she asked me to come in and talk to one of her clients. So I went in and talked to one of her clients, and they said, "You're a perfect fit. We want you to work here." And then did that for a little bit until, I'd say a couple years, until the location became an issue. One of my coworkers had moved over to the joint staff and said, "Hey, come over here to the joint staff. We could use you here on some stuff." So I ended up moving over to the joint staff and supported the science and technology office. So I worked there for a number of years, and it was, again, full spectrum IO, not just cyber operations. But now I'm in the Pentagon. So I worked there at the Pentagon for a number of years. And then I was offered a position with MITRE, which was very exciting because it was at Quantico, very close to Stafford. And that was as a systems engineer focusing on ISR equipment within the Marine Corps. After being with MITRE for about 13 years, I had decided I wanted to just see what other opportunities were out there. So I ended up leaving MITRE and went to FDD about 2.5 years ago. And FDD is a think tank in the DC area that it actually now houses the Cyberspace Solarium Commission. So that's how I ended up at FDD and where I am now. I have the privilege of working with the experts in whatever that domain is. So I am humbly aware that I am never the absolute expert. I try to be very appreciative of people's time, of their knowledge, mostly of their time, because like I said, it's usually a coalition of the willing. And I understand that everyone has a job that they have to do. And I try to get all that expert information and then interpret it to folks that are not experts. My words of wisdom are take advantage of every opportunity and don't wait for anybody. I try to mentor people and I talk to young people a lot, trying to get into the field. And I see a lot of waiting on other people. You can become an expert without, in-class instruction, without a $5,000 certification. You can take the initiative if you know what it is you need to study, and you can find what you need to study, and you can, start building out your skill. So I would say, one, take the initiative and, self-educate yourself. The other big piece of advice I have is definitely build a network and, capture those relationships. So get a LinkedIn account so you can talk to those old people. Make the connections with people who are both your peers, because they're going to continue growing in their career and they're going to be a resource for you. And then connect with people. You're going to grow in your career and you're going to want to, be able to have those resources available to you. I hope that the work I'm doing contributes to national security. It may not be, large. My coworker Annie always says, small bites out of the apple. So any step we can take to point towards the advancement of national security is really my goal.
There's nothing worse than relying on a legacy SIM that your security team has outgrown, especially when it impacts your ability to detect real incidents. Hunter's SOC platform offers built-in, always up-to-date detection rules and automatic correlation, that allows SOC analysts to focus on higher value tasks that impact your organization. It's time to move to a platform that reduces risk, complexity, and cost for the SOC. It's time to replace your SIEM. Learn more by visiting hunters.security today.